not, for any reason, ever share your private keys, passphrases, passwords, or click suspicious links. Everyone all the time is trying to steal your stuff, so go slow and be careful. There's no point making all this money just to give it to a thief.
Are you tired of all the uneducated noise you're getting from the droves of YOLO meme coin peddling douchebag gurus out there trying to use you as their exit liquidity? Would you rather learn a competent university-level set of skills that will guide you in managing and investing for the rest of your life? Join us 3 days a week at Digital Investor. Develop your knowledge of game theory, cognitive bias, macroeconomics, monetary theory, investment theory, psychology of the crowds, and more. For more info on Digital Investor and how it can help you, reach out at nickblacknext.com.
All right. Nailed it. Okay. Let's see. Before we get into Q&As, do we have any housekeeping? Oh, not really. Oh, except that for those that were asking, we had a couple people emailing us about the bundles. So like the node bundles. And a couple of people had asked, let me go here and just show you. They had asked for, you go into the shop. See all these bundles here? You'll notice it goes 128, 512. So we hadn't had too many people at first, but now people are asking, I want something in the middle. Okay, well, you get it. So you get something in the middle. So we'll have probably by later today, a 256 bundle, which will be right in the middle. And it will be less expensive per node than the 128 and slightly more, but it will be a discount. It'll be like a 33% discount from the single node price, which is kind of like the market price. Anyway, the good news is you'll notice these prices won't shift. They are set. That is the price. The price is the price. There's no shenaniganery. So yeah, cool. And you'll notice we are developing out more details on the Hyper AI box. So we are not the ones, obviously we don't make it, we don't hold any, but we are, it's a pass through. So if you want one and you're interested, you let us know and we'll push you through to the team that's going to help you guys get those boxes coming soon. It looks like the shipment date is like the first batch, it would seem, is ready on October 15th to send out. And again, the boxes for tilling, they can handle a full master node. But once compute starts sometime next year, these will be good for one node. You say, well, what's the point then? Well, the point is that you could be developing your reputation for all of those node licenses. And the more reputation equals the more currency units. You say, okay, well, that's not a big deal. Well, tilling is a big deal because if someone's got 6 or 8 months of uptime, they're going to be handed more relevant compute tasks. Their reputation is higher and they're closer to those nodes splitting than someone who just plugged in, March 3rd, and because compute starts 5 days later or something like that. So anyway, that's that. That's that little housekeeping. And we're going to get into a lot of more intricate price metrics on Hypercycle tomorrow. I have a kind of a really cool show planned for tomorrow. Today, We'll just do our office hours, and then I'm going to speak. We're going to talk a little bit in our classroom session about the value of taking profits on a regular basis versus just either YOLOing it all in or waiting for compound interest effects. Because there's a lot going on there. So you want to break it down and kind of lay it across a game theory mindset. Yay. Because game theory. Woohoo. As far as the exchange goes, where is, okay, so this will be a real quick bit. We'll just go to Node Market. Okay, so you can grab Node license through here. The secondary market where you would list and buy nodes, we're waiting for some code. The minute that the ecosystem gets the code necessary from the Hypercycle development team to split the nodes, which could be any day, it's probably any day. When we get that, not only will all of your node licenses be splittable, you can split them all the way down to single nodes, which is cool. And again, that's no special group, special interest, none of that bullshit. Everybody will be able to do this. Everybody. And if you have master nodes somewhere where they don't let you do this, they're not really yours. Okay, so just keep that in the back of your mind. So everybody will be able to participate. So that's kind of thing. Now, what else is cool? At that point, once you can split those nodes, that's when you can marry the tokens to the nodes. Once you can marry the tokens to the nodes, you'll be able to participate in tilling because that's, basically rolling out as we speak-ish. And so the steps are waiting for the code to split the nodes. Then everybody gets to participate in tilling. And again, days, not weeks, days. And with that, we will then be able to set up the secondary marketplace for node licenses that are in various stages. So you might say, maybe I want to buy, or maybe I'm doing some node farming and I've got some nodes that I've been tilling for 5 or 6 months, and they have more value than nodes that are purchased at marketplace prices. Like a single node right now might be 130, but a single node that's got 6 months of tilling under its belt, that's a different animal. That now has kind of a premium attached to it. So there'll be a secondary marketplace where you'll be able to compare nodes and do all this kind of cool stuff. You'll also be able to keep a portfolio of all of your nodes and how they're performing and the income they're generating and all that kind of stuff. But again, we're waiting for some code to come from the development team so that we can implement all of these things and track all these things. Now, the other thing that's coming is the exchange. And we are doing code audits right now. We expect, who knows, next week or two that all of those audits would come back. And when they're back, you'll have a fully functional OTC for Singularity Net assets, all of them. And you won't have to get your ass kicked by slippage. You can post an order to sell. You can go look at orders you want to buy. We'll show the discount to the current market price. So a lot of you may be looking and saying, oh, look at this. This person is selling these Hypercycle tokens at a 12% discount to the current market price. That's a good deal. For those of you that are clever at arbitrage, there's also some things you could do there, but I'm not going to get into all that yet. But the exchange is kind of going to be the first product that launches that you'll be able to take advantage of. And again, that will be, it's for all Singularity Net assets except Cogito. For now, until they do something that is worthy of exchange, we are not focused on Cogito. But Singularity Net, the AGIX token, Sophiaverse, like I don't know if it's live yet. Yeah, okay. So this is just as the kind of the early developmental kind of place, but you'll be able to create a watch list. You'll be able to select all the offerings of certain of each token, but you see here Rejuve, AGIX, Sophia, Hypercycle, Singularity, DAO, NewNet, and as new tokens appear, they'll be listed, and you'll be able to sell or purchase in USDT, USDC, or Ethereum. So this will be for the ecosystem as a place to go to buy or sell these assets without getting your ass kicked on slippage. Okay, cool. We nailed that. Whew. All right. Now, let me get through and let's see if we can rock some of these questions, and then we will get to our brain box part. If anyone can, you better be able to. I think, can you put a like on the video? Again, the office hours videos are not behind the wall. These are just public facing. So this is our only advertising. That is it. So you could find it in your hearts to put a little check mark on the thumbs up. That would help us tremendously, Governor. All right. Okay, what would be the best move with the other nodes? I think node farming. Node farming is a term that Brandon and I came up with, which is because I know people that are going to do this. They're simply going to be tilling just to raise the value of the nodes, and then they're going to flip them as the network goes live, or while the network is live and compute starts. You may, newer people that come to the space 6 months from now, they may say, oh man, I don't want to start all over with tilling. I want to grab something that's just about to split. Like if you have a node that's been tilling for 4, 5, 6, 7 months, that sucker's already probably halfway or more towards being able to split. And if you're thinking of that kind of wealth creation part of it and splitting of nodes, well, then you might want to get a 6 or 7 month jump start on your peers. So I think there's going to be a very vibrant secondary marketplace for that. So that's cool. Let me go here. All right. So that's what my guess is that, I mean, that's kind of a node tilling arbitrage kind of a thing. Anyway, yeah. Question. How does the hypercycle box just plug into a computer? No. The hypercycle box is a computer. I don't know if people realize that. It's not just a monitoring system. The hypercycle AI box is a self-contained computer with a crap load of power, right? And we'll have all the specs. Matter of fact, we got a new sheet with all the specs that Brandon is updating in the marketplace. You'll be able to go and look at the details of the box. So that's going to be, it's either already there or will be there later today. But these things are pretty powerful. But again, the compute, you should assume that for tilling, one box will do a full master node. But once compute starts, March, April of next year, whatever, when they roll that out, then you should imagine in your mind, okay, each box is one node because it's handling a bunch of compute. And so, you think, okay, well, then you'd have to get more facilities, right? More hardware. That's when you decide, do I want to go send my assets over to HyperPG, to Hyperpool? Do I want to go send to a private facility that may offer me some amount of currency units? But remember this, if you partner your tokens with your nodes and you allocate them to some third party, they're still yours. After that time period is up, you get them back. Meaning if over the period of years or even months, your nodes have split a few times and all that, they're still yours. They don't get those. The facility that's doing this, they don't own your stuff. They are borrowing your stuff for some amount of yield. You get that back at the end of that time period. So there's a lot of reasons why it might make sense to do a little of everything. Have some tokens over at HyperPG, have some licenses married with tokens at Hyperpool, and find facilities and kind of spread the wealth and just get the best aggregate benefit from all of it. Anyway, will your electric bill go up significantly with Hypercycle box like when people mine Bitcoin? No, Tracy, depending on where you live, there's a good chance. I mean, it depends on the price of the token, right? But like there's a chance that your hyper box is going to pay for a portion or a significant portion of your electricity. And some of you wise souls are looking at getting 1 or 2 solar panels to power your hyper AI box, meaning 1, 2 free. I know that Howard was thinking about, I think Howard, you were looking into that anyway. And we'll have more data once the boxes are out. We can do some testing. but we're going to be playing with like how many solar panels does it take to run a box, and meaning like you could get X amount of solar panels per box, run that could essentially, I mean, that could pay your electricity bill. So there's all sorts of really cool ways this will be implemented, all sorts of things that we haven't even considered yet. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, man. I'm the only one. Yeah, come on, man. Like the videos, bro. Like the videos, bro. We don't get paid for this. We get paid for this. I mean, we would probably do it anyway because we're super nerds, and that's what super nerds do, including nixing weird phone calls. Okay. Let's see. Freddie says, been out of the loop for summer. I'm sure you covered these topics. Just hearing hypercycle nodes buzz and want to jump in. Buy on Coinbase. No. Hypercycle, most of the Singularity Net assets are traded on just a very few exchanges. KuCoin, Gate.io, MEXC, and otherwise. For the most part, you're going to be trading these assets in a decentralized manner through Uniswap, through PancakeSwap, if there's a BSC version of the token, or just through MetaMask and then giving them the fee to go ahead and do those jumps and those swaps. And here in a few days or a week at the over-the-counter exchange that we're creating for all of these assets, as they are currently illiquid, but will become much more liquid. Now, the cool thing about Hypercycle is once you've moved into the native token, liquidity is no longer a problem. And Tufi's going to speak a lot more about that in the future, but you could see a future where everybody becomes their own full service bank. There's really cool things you can do with the native Hypercycle token that haven't really been talked about because there's a lot of dexterity in that token. It's not a placeholder token like the Ethereum Hypercycle token. Remember, these are just placeholder tokens for now. So there's a lot more will be said on those subjects. All right. How would we be able to participate in tilling when we don't have tokens? Well, if you don't have tokens, Caleb, you're not tilling. Now, one way to participate is, let's say you had a bunch of licenses, and you wanted to lend those licenses to like Hyperpool or potentially HyperPG. They would infuse tokens into them. They would pay you to borrow those licenses. They would pay you some yield. That would be a way. But otherwise, I would consider having 1,024 tokens per license, because then you could marry them together and then they have even more value. So that's probably the way that would work. Is the heater function part of this? No, it still pumps out heat. These things generate heat, right? They have little fans and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but are you using this as a space heater or I think technically it's both, right? It's probably a space heater that pays your electric bill. Well, depending on where you live, right? If you live in some expensive ass place, I doubt that. But yeah. Would you be buying a box to hold 1 or 2 nodes so you can compute? Well, I'm getting a box to be tilling first, right? Because I have a chunk of tokens equal to a master node right now sitting at Singularity DAO. I will, once I get a box, so here mid-October, late October, I will take those tokens. I will marry them with the appropriate masternode license. Boop. And I will have those tilling with my box. That sounds bad when you just look at it out of context. But then when compute starts, I'm going to leave one node there, or just basically buy one more and push the rest of those nodes to a facility, or I will split them up and push some towards HyperPG and some towards Hyperpool and some towards a facility, and just do whatever makes the most sense at that moment. We can't know what we can't know. All right. I thought we needed tokens. Yes, you do. But you could lend, again, I would urge everyone to go and watch all of the This Week in Hypercycle videos so that you're up on what Tufi's saying. But yes, you need the nodes and the tokens for tilling. However, if you have the node licenses, you can lend them to someone else that will put the tokens in and do the tilling. All right. Whew. We're going to do a whole show probably Monday just on, because there's a lot of hypercycle questions, and we'll just do a whole show on Monday answering all that kind of stuff. Is HyperPG the place where sorts of connected to digital invest? Well, no, HyperPG is a partnership between Hypercycle and Penguin, where they're going to leverage the hydroelectric electricity generation, and they are going to run a big facility, a compute facility, essentially like a bunch of hardware, right? They're buying all the hardware, and you'll be able to lend, like we lent. It's not a secret at this point. We lent into HyperPG 51.3 million tokens, and this is the private clients, because we were early investors. That's one of the benefits of digital private client is you get early access to a lot of these assets, and you know the bumper sticker. You can be really good at something, you can be really lucky, or you can just be first. And first is the easiest of those three. Lucky is not a strategy, and being really good, whew, it's tough. Okay. Will my electric company detect the box? Well, yeah, it's pulling some electricity, but it's not pulling tons of electricity, and not if you used a solar panel to offset it. Not all solar panels are created equal. Some grab more. Yes. Yes, that is true. And that's why there's going to be, it's going to be fun as people experiment in and around this. Okay. I have MetaMask, so I have to transfer Ethereum funds like we did with AGIX. Freddie, I'm not sure. I feel like I need more in that question. You transfer Ethereum funds like we did for what? I think yes, but I'm not sure what you're asking. Maybe I caught the end of the conversation. Can I till unmarried node at the beginning next week and marry with my own tokens? If you pledge your node licenses to some other place, they're probably going to have a time lockup. Like if you, like we pledged our not yet vested tokens from early investment at Hypercycle, the 51.3 million tokens, to HyperPG, that's a 24-month lockup. So those tokens I can't get back. Now we get paid rewards monthly, throughout the year at that 9% APY, but the those tokens, the bulk of those tokens, they're locked up. Now, if you lend your nodes, I'm sure it's for a locked up period of time. Think of this entire system as like a repo, like a government repo market. Well, it wouldn't just be government because other facilities can participate, but a giant repo market. All right. I think we got it. Let me get down here and see if we've nailed all the questions. Abe, what's going on? How many node licenses and Hypercycle tokens are needed for each box to be purchased? Well, no, you can just grab I think they're going to be right around $1,200 each is what I'm hearing. I mean, we don't have final price, but I think that's what it's going to be. You can have one node license, 2, or 512. But to marry the tokens to the node licenses to participate in tilling, it's 1,024 tokens per license. Okay. Just for your marketplace will be up before mid-October. Wondering if I should wait for marketplace to purchase more tokens. You can, unless you see a nice price. I mean, a price inconsistency. It depends. I don't know what kind of offers are going to be on there. I know we're going to put a little thing, a little indicator that shows the discount to the coin market cap price. So basically discount to current market. So you could look each morning and you could say, okay, what is the price? Like if the price of Hypercycle is 55 cents, but you see it listed for 49 cents or 51 cents, you're like, dang, that's already, 8 or 10%. I'll take that. Right? There's going to be opportunities for people to participate in arbitrage and stuff like that. We're not going to do anything other than just create a place where people can go and not get their asses kicked on slippage. This bull crap where you see like 18, 20% slippage. No. So that's just a function of the token not being super liquid. We don't want that. Whew. All right. Let's see, Freddie. So if you want to get with Hypercycle, I'd have to buy tokens on MetaMask and then buy a node package where MetaMask. No, Freddie, buddy, We just went through it like 6 minutes ago. You go to the website. You can go either to nickblacknext.com or you can go to nodemarket.io. Either way, if you go to Nick Black Next, you just go to the shop. Look, license bundles, 2, 8, 32, 128, 256 will be there today, 500, all the way up. And these are all different discounts to the single node price. And these are fixed price. These prices aren't going to move around and change. The only thing that we're doing is as a way to help kind of push the word for the boxes. If you get a master node box, you notice there's two. There's master node for 46K, which is $90 a node, which is a lot less than $130 a node. But that's the range. The ceiling is the ceiling is 130. The floor is 90. If you buy more, you get a better discount. But for $20 extra, you're going to get a Hyperbox as well. So there, yay. All right. So that's that. And you can access that through going to Digital Investor and just clicking on the shop. But you can also go to Node Market. And if you go to just the regular Node Market, you click buy licenses, guess where you go? Woohoo! Same. Yay. All right. So easy peasy. Let's see. Will the Digital Investor Data Center be up? Well, there's already a lot of digital investor data stuff going on. Oh, and real quick, yes, Freddie, you would use MetaMask to purchase node licenses. It's just a MetaMask transaction, but you have to confirm it. Some people will click it and then they'll like, okay, where's my thing? Like, well, you didn't confirm the transaction. You got to confirm the transaction. All right. And yes, we are adding all sorts of stuff. The back end of Digital Investor has a lot of tools. For those of you that are digital investors, you already know this. Like a shit box full of tools that help you manage your portfolio, percentages of the assets that we recommend and some that we don't, and like all the information around being a competent fiduciary. But again, that's behind the wall because there's things that we can't do publicly. So we don't do them publicly. Yeah. Okay. Any idea when Hyper Pools will be open? I don't know. That's a Tufi and the team thing. I'm just on that stuff. All I can do is tell you what they tell me. Okay. Let's see. Raymond, I have MetaMask, but not through the Google extension, so I'm having trouble. Why the difference? I mean, if you have MetaMask and you go to Node Market and you click buy node licenses, it's still a MetaMask. Don't do the transaction on your phone if you're trying to do it, Raymond. Make sure you're on a laptop. There should be no other reason why you can't do it. You can do it. But you got to do, you have to do it. Listen, you guys don't use your phones for crypto transactions. It may seem easy. Don't do it, man. You're just going to fat thumb something, add an extra zero, add of this, add of that. I mean, MetaMask is great on a laptop or desktop, but don't do expensive stuff through your phone. Plus you up the risk that someone's going to sniff your Wi-Fi information or something like that. Just be everybody wants to steal all your stuff. So just keep that in mind. And I don't know what the lockups are going to be, Philip. They haven't disclosed that, but I'm guessing it's going to be the same 12, 18, 24 months, something like that. And then if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, don't. I mean, do it on your own. Yeah. Or you lose your phone. Yeah, Howard. I mean, that's, again, just be careful. Okay. I think that pretty much, yeah, I got SIM swapped a few years ago. Thank you guys. I told everybody about that. I lost like 200 racks. Poof, in a few minutes. Yeah, it is what it is. All right. I've been refused 3 times in 2 weeks. I'm not blaming it on you, Raymond. I'm just saying that in somebody else in your position, they would be doing something wrong. But if you want to email me or Brandon, we will push that through. So, NicholasBlack60 @gmail. As a matter of fact, I think it'll scroll by here in a second. But Nicholas Black 60 at Gmail. Just tell us what you're doing and maybe put your MetaMask wallet address in the info, and then I'll push that to Brandon and we'll get you sorted out. Do not worry. We will hold anyone's hands if they need their hand held. That's the whole point. We are just doing the facilitation of this ecosystem. Bam. Okay. Let's switch gears. I think it's school. I think we've answered a lot of questions. Let's do some school classes in session. We are going to dig into the mindset. God, people keep calling it. It's always sales. It's always bullshitty sales calls. The one thing I did like about AT&T is it told you it was a spammy bullshit call, and Verizon doesn't do that. They just let these spammy bullshit calls get through. It's very frustrating. Anyway, and those calls are bullshit. All right. The value of taking profit regularly versus compound interest, and all through the lens or perspective of game theory. So that's what we're going to do today. That is our classroom stuff. Yeah, fun times. So let me get to these cool. I love these things. I love them.
Hello. You're late.
You're bad at math, but I'm giving you an A+ in confidence.
Just doing what I gotta do.
Extra credit.
All right. Let's forget about money for a minute. Let's think. I guess what I would say is let's think in terms of game theory and philosophy. And real quick, a lot of you say, oh, well, game theory again, game theory. Well, that's the underlying math of the way humans interact. It's also turns out to be kind of the underlying systemic math of, evolution and markets. And so, but to break it all down, to be really good at investing in a consistent basis, you got to be a critical thinker, right? So you need to be able to analyze situations. You need to be able to communicate, sometimes just to yourself, communicate your ideas, express your ideas. You need to be open-minded. If you're wrong about something, you want to be wrong, and you want to be wrong fast, so you can move on down the road to stuff that's less wrong. Problem solving, overcoming challenges. So I know, but no one wants to say problems. Listen, man, there's problems all over the place. Sometimes stuff sucks and it needs to be fixed, and then you fix it, right? Let's not sugarcoat everything. There's nothing woke about finance. You do or you fail. That's it. That's the thing I love about it so much. If you work harder than the people around you intellectually, you win and they don't. And you don't have to apologize. No one's getting, oh, you're lucky. Bitch, I'm not lucky. If I study harder than you, I earned it. And all of you that endeavor to be better at investing just in general, if you analyze, communicate, you are open-minded, you're willing to be wrong about stuff and move on and just get better, you're good at problem solving, and you open yourself up to be creative, you will win more than the people around you, and you don't have to apologize for shit. I don't apologize for anything. I also, if I get beat up on a trade or something, it is what it is. There is no crystal ball. There's no one knows. TA doesn't work. Like, if anybody knew with certainty where markets were going to go, they'd own everything. They'd have all the money. And unless you can cheat in a big way, and as far as I know, nobody from BlackRock is on this stream, then you're with the rest of us, fish swimming in a big pond. And we have a very limited predictive resources, but what we do have is the ability to fundamentally analyze based on the way humans think, right? But we got to get out of the way of what? Of our own cognitive biases. And these are these tendencies to think in certain ways that lead us to systematic deviations from a standard of rationality or sound judgment. Essentially, why do we make the decisions that we make? And by the way, for those of you that are digital investors, we have the cognitive bias book that we did, which is the 25 most common cognitive biases in investing. And that's available at the site as well. Yay. All right. So we need game theory. Why? Game theory is the SIPG, right? It's the study of mathematical models of strategic interaction or interdependency between rational decision makers. And it has applications in all fields of social science, logic, computer science. I guess I should probably put biology, evolutionary biology, and all sorts of stuff. Game theory is the process of modeling these strategic interactions or interdependencies between those two or more players in a situation. And it's a situation that contains a sets of rules and outcomes. Investment markets have rules. They have outcomes. Sometimes the outcomes are good. Sometimes they are bad. We also have assumptions, and this is important because I talk about assumptions, and sometimes you'll hear me say, these are generalized assumptions. These are weak assumptions. And that basically, you go from weak to concrete. That's where we are. That's the range in your assumptive powers. And you have to be honest with yourself when you don't have a lot of data or when you don't have a lot of fundamental analysis. You have to say, my assumptions are pretty weak. They are flimsy. Or you approach with more and more data and more information and more kind of good quality analysis, you approach a higher level of concreteness in your assumptions. Anyway, assumptions in game theory, like in economics, there is the assumption of rationality and maximization. So it's assumed that players within a game, other investors, are rational and they strive to maximize their payoffs in that environment. And then as you break that down into economics, and again, we're distilling all of this down into a way that we can utilize game theory to be better at the overall skill of investing, right? It's a skill. It's not a talent. You're not a talented investor. You can't teach talent. You can teach a skill. You can get good at it. Economic key points. Focus on the long run and all groups involved. Economics can be subjected to vested interests, some of them quite primitive and perverse. And then long run effects are much more complicated, especially to predict, than short run effects. So your assumptions in the long term become weaker and weaker, less concrete. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. And yes, bam, that's what I like to see. SIPG, strategic interactions or independence between players in a game. And we assume that players are rational. Absolutely we do. And you say, well, what about irrational players like the movie coming out this weekend, Dumb Money? When people behave irrationally, there are sometimes weird events or periods of time where you think, wow, this is a lot of irrational behavior. And it can make you want to participate, like all the GameStop stuff. There's a bunch of assholes and idiots getting their marching orders from other assholes and idiots. Now, there were jerks on the other side. The story was conflated to be like all these hedge fund guys, we're going to screw them. Yeah, but GameStop's a bad company. And like just a quick little asterisk here, shorting is good and necessary. When companies are crap, they deserve to get exposed because every share of a company that sells when a company is a scam is stealing from somebody that doesn't know any better. Now, I'm not a short seller. I know some people that do that as a living. That is a rough life, right? They're mostly miserable people and they have their life expectancies like so low. But if they want to put their money on the line and go after crappy companies that steal from people, good for them. Also, that liquidity is important. Speculators don't ruin markets. Now, when you have mechanical weirdnesses and people are kind of cheating, for instance, hedge funds that are naked short, like they don't own the assets they're shorting, they haven't borrowed the assets they're shorting, or they've poorly collateralized that or whatever, then they deserve to get beat up. But it doesn't change the fact that GameStop is a shitty company, right? And so I think this is a very woke movement, this whole thing. So I'm going to leave it there on that. But I would be very careful about being anti-short, the short guys. I was like, no, that's bullcrap. Shorting is an important part of market function. You need a certain amount of that short behavior, and you need the people that get behind those shorts that go public and talk about them to make people aware that there are shitty companies out there that are pulling scams. Like, Nikola and all these other bullshit companies that were set up to steal from people, just straight up theft. And so these guys got to get nuked. Anyway, that's my little talk about that. But let's reduce our thinking back. Okay, so investors, future investors, current investors, digital investors, some of you digital private clients, and just other people that accidentally showed up right now at this second. Today's journey is going to uncover the strategic pathways or crossroads that every one of us investors has to face at some point, when to reap profits and when to let your assets grow. So it's a lot of people are like, okay, I know I got to take profit, but I also like compounded interest. How do I reconcile those two things? And you guys know we all have the 10x take 20 rule and the 2x take 10 rule. And I'm not going to go into all that, but essentially you need to program your exits. You need to take exits on a regular basis. What is the point of doing all this if we don't if we don't enrich our life at all, right? Like, we need to enrich our lives. So we need to at some point take profit. To navigate this, we are going to do all of this through the lens of game theory. So across this vast landscape of different investment strategies, two philosophies often emerge as front runners, and that is regular profit taking, 10x take 20, 2x take 10, and letting your investments benefit from compounded interest effects. We're going to do a deep study tomorrow of the potential for the hypercycle token. Like, forget about the nodes for a second, but the actual token itself and the effects of the node market and tilling over the next 3 to 5 years, what I think the token can do. A lot of people are focusing on different aspects. This is going to simply be, I don't do these a lot, but this is going to be price prediction, kind of a fun Friday. So I would show up for that one. Anyway, so regular profit taking over here and letting your investments benefit from compounded interest. And their respective advantages and risks will shape the decisions that all of us make as investors. And it's a little of both, right? Un poco de todo. Now, before we take the deep dive, I want to touch upon game theory like we just did, but I want to go a little bit more generalized. So think of it as the mathematics of strategy, understanding the decisions in an environment where several people or players or investors are interacting, and the outcomes seem uncertain at a glance, but you can reduce everyone's thinking to essentially like, what's in it for me and what does it cost, right? Like, what's in it? Can I do it? And what's in it for me? Those are like the subconscious questions people ask when they're trying to maximize their own payoffs. So first on our list, let's talk about the regular profit-taking approach. So consider this strategy as a sequence in a game where each step or turn signifies an investment cycle. So like every cycle offers this dilemma. Should you enjoy the fruits now or wait for potentially bigger harvest? Which those of you might say, oh, that's pleasure, the delay of pleasure, delayed gratification. Yes, that too is a skill. And if you develop it and also like develop it in your kids, they will have likely a much better future, as will you. It's one of the most important investment concepts. It's hard to teach. But anyway, yeah, delayed gratification. So adopting the regular profit-taking strategy brings to mind the tit for tat mechanism that's iterated in The Prisoner's Dilemma. So it's about guaranteeing regular, smaller rewards, and in some ways, minimizing extended exposure to market risks, especially very volatile markets. And yes, again, there's arguments on the other side, like, no, we're in the early days. I want to do this. I want to do that. I think this, I think that. Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. And I think we're in the early days. And I think this market has another 10, 20, 50, 100x to go, maybe more. That being said, there is merit to taking regular, smaller profits on a regular basis and building a war chest. So benefits are manifold. So liquidity to tap into other opportunities or emergencies, having that like safety net of stable asset. For those of you that are private clients, I expose my portfolio percentages every few days so that people can see, what am I holding? When, how has that changed from last week? This is just a way so that people can kind of see like what I'm onto and how I manage my personal money. Right. But you can sometimes people say, hey, why are you all of a sudden in this stable coin or that? I'm like, well, if I put new money in, I'm putting it in stable coin. I may park that over at Coinbase and take some 5% yield while I'm waiting to decide how to deploy that in a dollar cost averaging strategy. But anyway, it's nice to have a pool of liquidity that you can utilize, again, for opportunities or emergencies. There is a certain psychological satisfaction from tangible gains, right? From pulling kind of money out of the system and having a gain. And that safety net against some kind of market downturn, or Gary Gensler pulls a fast one or whatever, right? So we have to be rational, as rational as we can. We have to be rational players as much as we can. Anyway, it is essential also to acknowledge the elephant in the room, that by pocketing profits on too regular a basis, taking too much out of the game, you're sidelining the eighth wonder of the world, which is, anyone? The eighth wonder of the world? Einstein said this, by the way. Compounded interest. I think Warren Buffett probably has said similar. Compounding interest is not just a mathematical concept. It's an art where your patience can pay off in ridiculous fashion. So, by reinvesting the interest you earn, you let your money work harder, your currency units, and you expand your earning potential with each cycle. I look at it as employees. I have my currency units, and through investment, they generate currency units. If I can take those, the free money, the investment profits, the proceeds, and I can turn them into my employees and put them somewhere where they too are going to grab some interest, that compounded interest effect. There's a certain point where my little currency unit employees that were just profit, they're making more than I can make because they can scale. There's only one me. I can't scale me, not yet, until we upload, right? Well, we're working on our digital twin, so maybe I can't. But for now, I can't scale me completely. My days are so many minutes and so many hours and so many breaths, and at some point that will extinguish. But I can scale my currency units, and through compounded interest, I build this big fleet of employees that's just making money for me all the time. Bam. Okay. Let's talk about compounded interest with benefits a little deeper. So kind of the ways you should look at it, compound interest, three main things: exponential growth, maximizing earnings, and time as your ally, right? So exponential growth wise, moving beyond the kind of linear profit trajectories, compounding crafts exponential narratives. With each cycle, both your principal and the previously earned interest work together. And then the new interest joins in, and then the new interest joins in. It's like a company that just keeps taking on employees. Beauty is you're not having to put new money in because your employees are created out of, virtual thin air by your other little money employees. Does that make sense? So anyway, your principal and then the previously earned interest work together. Yes, your node minions. Yes, your interest minions. So then we go into the principle of maximizing earnings. So over time, your growth isn't additive, it's multiplicative. You're not adding 1 to 1, you're multiplying and then multiplying and then multiplying. So the reward for letting your interest compound is a return that over time makes the initial principal look very, very small and minuscule, right? And this is, yes, there you go, Larry. Well played. Rule of 72. And then I want you to think about time, kind of leading into that, Larry. Time is your ally. So in most games, time is a diminishing resource. But with the compounding effect, time becomes not only a player on your team, but like the offensive coordinator. The longer the game, the mightier time becomes as an ally, as a player, as like a conductor, right? So The compounding isn't, I mean, compounding interest is part of an overall management strategy. It's not the only part. It's not like that can be it. So compounding interest, obviously, it's not without its pitfalls. Obviously, markets are unpredictable, and if they turn bearish for extended periods, like what we're looking at in the crypto space, you might be like, "Dang, where's my compounded interest?" Well, in crypto, we have staking and things like that. But with good analysis, fundamental analysis, you can find little sectors in the wider market that you're in that still have potential. So there's always a bull market somewhere. You just gotta pick through the detritus and get it. Anyway, and this is where the stag hunt term from game theory illustrates our dilemma. Picture this. So you have two hunters, and they can collaborate for the bigger prize, the stag, or they can go solo and catch smaller kind of the rabbits. They can go hunt for rabbits, or they can work together for the stag. By the way, I don't hunt. It's just a game theory example. I think if you hunt, it should be like you and a knife, and you should go hunt tigers. Good luck, human creature. You don't get a gun. No, you get a knife equal to the size of those tigers' teeth, and that's it. Ready, go. I'm guessing it's going to be tiger 1, human 0, 1-0. Anyway, so in this hunting situation, if one believes the other won't wait for the stag, they might just settle for the rabbit, for the small prize. Such is the allure and kind of the peril of compounding. So what if you mixed your strategies a little bit? Game theory tells us the virtues of these diversified strategies. So why not employ a hybrid approach in your investing? A little bit and a little bit. Consider reserving portions of your investment for regular profit taking, right? Ensuring always that you'll have liquidity and also that psychological comfort of taking a little bit to the sidelines, but also knowing you have your currency units as your minions propagating. Does that make sense? So you don't have to be one or the other. You can mix strategies a little bit, and you should. So the balance might be the key to not only just mastering your portfolio, but also like completely getting rid of all the emotional side effects. When you know that you're earning some compound interest, you're happier. When that time's on your side, when you know that you're doing good fundamental analysis and you're participating in markets that can expand really fast, that's the fun investment fundamental analysis side. When you take profit at a regular basis, you'll feel good, like you're actually taking winnings. You're showing real benefit and like potentially making your life easier, which you need to do. Again, all of this just on a balance sheet is no different than a video game. You need to make your life better to some extent, or like, what's the point? Anyway, to kind of wrap all this up, put a bow on it. Investments, like any strategy game, require foresight, adaptability, and understanding the playing field. You got to know the rule set, right? So whether you play it safe, take some risks, or artfully combine the two, which is what I would recommend, you must play smart. You must play with little or no emotion. I mean, ideally, no emotion. You must get out of the way of your own cognitive biases, and the odds start to become more and more in your favor. Why? Because other people won't do the work. Like, they will not do the work. None. Matter of fact, most hedge fund managers will not do the work. They leverage relationships. They take a bunch of money that they really shouldn't have, and they usually squander it. They'll have one good year. They'll get their ass kicked for 7 or 8, and then they are kaput. See you later. Bye. And then, because people have fickle memories, they don't remember that they lost hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, I go back to Novogratz because he's just like the lowest hanging fruit. This dude lost money at Goldman. This dude lost money at his own fund. He got kicked out of his own fund, and he had to go set up shop. 5 or 6 years later, hey, I'll just set up shop in Canada. Why? Because no one in America would have him. And yet people throw tons of money at him. It doesn't matter that he got a Luna tattoo. It doesn't matter he was involved in 3 Arrows. It doesn't matter that he was involved in Celsius and Do Kwon and every other scammy project, because he is well-intentioned, but he's an absolute fool. He does not know how to manage money. People don't care. They just go, ooh, he's rich, and rich people know about money. Bullshit. That is the farthest thing from the truth. But people are enamored by rich people. So there you go. Don't be that. Don't be that guy. The only difference between you and them is a couple of decimals. And you can catch them and surpass them and have some dignity in the process, which I can't imagine they have after having lost. Oh, they lose so much money. God. Anyway, point is, as you chart your investment journey, you might want to just consider, are you balancing the immediate and continual gains of a profit-taking strategy and the long-term allure of compounding interest to sculpt your portfolio? And I think if we are all mindful of that, we're going to have a lot better financial future. And you shouldn't have to, like I got rid of all my private clients, not all of them, all except like, it doesn't matter. I got rid of most of my private clients that were below a certain point. Not because I did not like them or did not want them to succeed, but because I don't really like the idea of relying on someone else to manage your money. We are in a decentralized world now where we can all have our own bank, not bank account, have your own bank, do your own lending, spin up your own finance. Like you can control every aspect of your own finance. You can control every aspect of your own investment. No one can stand in your way now. You have every tool. It's just, are you going to do a little homework and build yourself up to a point where you can utilize those tools, or are you just going to hand your money to some asshole and let them, I hope you do. I hope you make me rich, Earl. Like, get off the gas. Take some responsibility. If you cede authority of your financial future to some rando, then you get what you get. And it might not be what you want, but if you take control and you do the research and you put out the effort, then you've earned it. Then there's no one's, oh, you got lucky. I didn't get lucky. I earned it. I made this. I did this. All of you can do that too. You got to take full control of your financial future. And that means, roll up your sleeves, do a little homework while everybody else is watching some dumb game, that bread and circus and all this other stupid dangly carrot entertainment-y bullshit. If you spend an extra hour a day on your financial education and awareness, you will just melt up like the balloon, like the gold balloon. You will just float up past everyone else, because on the aggregate, no one is doing the work. No one, even these hedge fund guys. So you have a huge advantage. Some people here, I bet, will look back 3 or 4 years from now, and they will be in a better financial position than many, or I would say most of these current batch of hedge fund idiots. It definitely on a percentage basis. So, what is it? Oh, one trader at Morgan Stanley, Howie Hubler, managed to lose $9 billion. It's crazy. I know. Do the homework and you win. It's that simple. I still do the homework, and I'm already winning. I mean, I'm not a billionaire. But it's a lot closer than it used to be. That doesn't mean anything, but it's a lot closer than it used to be. I'll just say that. All right. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything. My poor insolvent drunk started on meth. Grandmother wouldn't do. Tomorrow, it's going to be very interesting deep dive on the price potential of the hypercycle token. I assure you the numbers are quite shocking. So I'll just say that. And on that note, I bid you a fond pew pew. We'll see you tomorrow.
If you're an accredited investor and you want in on angel, seed round, or early round equity and token opportunities in the artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency space, schedule an interview at nickblacknext.com. In life, you can either be really good, really lucky, or just be first. Being first is so much easier. Schedule a digital private client interview today at nickblacknext.com.